Hi everyone. So I have been debating about how I'm going to go about energy work, and originally I decided, instead of showing you and going into what I do during a session, there's a lot of different opinions about energy work and a lot of angles about it as well. So I figured I would start to share my angle first. And mine is very much like self-empowering in the way that a physical fitness trainer would be. Right? If you want to get strong, it's good to have a coach. It's good to have a trainer. They're not going to make you strong. All the strength you acquire, you have earned. And the same thing goes for any kind of healing that we do. We go through it. Some people hold better spaces, some people help treatment. But the healing is all done by the person, by the individual. If you see a massage therapist, an acupuncturist, a chiropractor, it might seem like we are healing you in the moment. We're bringing you up to speed, up to vibration, up to alignment. But how well you maintain that, how well you keep that state of healing, that healed state, all of these things depend on the person's lifestyle and their way of living. Our relationship to ourselves, our relationship to the world around us and everything in it, the intentions that we put out, it's very multi-layered. The first book that I'd like to introduce, which I've introduced previously, but today I'm going to go a little bit further into reading some, is Louise Hay, How We Can Heal Our Life. It is showing us that we can heal our life. And I thought maybe I'd just go into a summary of each chapter. But I really enjoy this book. And I think what might be best is for my future self as well, that I read chapter by chapter, so there's always a reference to go to, and just go into it for myself as well. It's a really powerful book into beginning our spirituality. I think this is the right angle. No matter where you are in your life, what you've done, what you didn't do, what others have done, what you've done to others, it's okay. It might not seem that way right now, but know that you are enough. and so are they. On one level, it might seem very clear. On another level, that might seem terribly wrong. But then there is another level again. And that's where the healing begins. So without further ado, I will start. Some points of my philosophy. We are each responsible for all of our experiences. Every thought we think is creating our future. The point of power is always in the present moment. Everyone suffers from self-hatred and guilt. The bottom line for everyone is, I'm not good enough. It's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. We create every so-called illness in our body. Resentment, criticism, and guilt are the most damaging patterns. Releasing resentment will dissolve even cancer. We must release the past and forgive everyone. We must be willing to begin to learn to love ourselves. Self-approval and self-acceptance in the now are the keys to positive changes. When we really love ourselves, everything in our life works. Of course, you don't have to watch me the whole time. I could just have me in the background listening. The infinity of life, where I am, all is perfect, whole, and complete. And yet, life is ever changing. There is no beginning and no end, only a constant cycling and recycling of substances and experiences. Life is never stuck or static or stale. For each moment is ever new and fresh. I am one with the very power that created me. And this power has given me the power to create my own circumstances. I rejoice in the knowledge that I have the power of my own mind to use in any way I choose. Every moment of life is a new beginning. Point as we move from the old. This moment is a new point of beginning for me right here and right now. All is well in my world. Chapter 1. What I believe. The gateways to wisdom and knowledge are always open. Life is really very simple. What we give out, we get back. What we think about ourselves become the truth for us. I believe that everyone, myself included, is responsible for everything in our lives. The best and the worst. Every thought we think is creating our future. Each one of us creates our experience by our thoughts and our feelings. The thoughts we think and the words we speak create our experiences. We create the situations, and then we give our power away by blaming the other person for our frustration. No person, no place, and no thing has any power over us, for we are the only thinkers in it. When we create peace and harmony and balance in our minds, we will find it in our lives. Which of these statements sounds like you? People are out to get me. Everyone is always helpful. Each one of these beliefs will create quite a different experience. What we believe about ourselves and about life becomes true for us. The universe totally supports us in every thought we choose to think and believe. Put another way, our subconscious mind accepts whatever we choose to believe. They both mean that what I believe about myself and about life becomes true for you. And we have unlimited choices about what we can think. When we know this, then it makes sense to choose everyone is always helpful rather than people are out to get me. The universal power never judges or criticizes us. It only accepts us at our own value. Then it reflects our beliefs and our lives. If I want to believe that life is lonely and that nobody loves me, then that is what I will find in my world. However, if I am willing to release that belief and to affirm for myself that love is everywhere, and I am loving and lovable, and to hold on to that new affirmation, and to repeat it often, then it will become true for me. Now, loving people will come into my life. The people already in my life will become more loving to me. And I will find myself easily expressing love to others. Most of us have foolish ideas about who we are and many, many rigid rules about how life ought to be lived. This is not to condemn us, for each of us is doing the very best we can at this very moment. And if we knew better, if we had more understanding and awareness, then we would do it differently, but we don't. Please don't put yourself down for being where you are. The very fact that you have found this book and have discovered me means that you are ready to make a new positive change in your life. Acknowledge yourself for this. Men don't cry. Women can't handle money. What limiting ideas to live with? When we are very little, we learn how to feel about ourselves and about life by the reactions of adults around us. It is the way we learn what to think about ourselves and about our world. Now, if you lived with people who were very unhappy, frightened, guilty, or angry, then you learned a lot of negative things. About yourself and about your world. I never do anything right. It's my fault. I never do anything right. It's my fault. If I get angry, I'm a bad person. Beliefs like this create a frustrating life. When we grow up, we have a tendency to recreate the emotional environment of our early home life. This is not good or bad, right or wrong. It is just what we know inside as home. We also tend to recreate in our personal relationships the relationships we had with our mothers or with our fathers, or what they had between them. Think how often you have had a lover or a boss who was just like your mother or father. We also treat ourselves the way our parents treated us. We scold and punish ourselves in the same way. You can almost hear the words when you listen. We also love and encourage ourselves in the same way. If we were loved and encouraged as children, you never do anything right. It's all your fault. How often have you said this to yourself? You are wonderful. I love you. How often do you tell yourself this? However, I would not blame our parents for this. We are all victims of victims, and they could not possibly have taught us anything they did not know. If your mother did not know how to love herself, or your father did not know how to love himself, then it would be impossible for them to teach you to love yourself. They were doing the best they could with what they had been taught as children. If you want to understand your parents more, get them to talk about their own childhood. And if you listen with compassion, you will learn where their fears and rigid patterns come from. Those people who did all the stuff to you were just as frightened and scared as you are. I believe that we choose our parents. Each one of us decides to incarnate upon this world as a particular point in time and space. We have chosen to come here to learn a particular lesson that will advance us upon our spiritual evolutionary pathway. We choose our sex, our color, our country, and then we look around for the particular set of parents who will mirror the patterns we are bringing into work. we are bringing in to work on in this lifetime. Then, when we grow up, we usually point our fingers accusingly at our parents and whimper, "You did it to me." But really, we chose them because they were perfect for what we wanted to work on overcoming. We learn our belief systems as a very little children. And then we move through life creating experiences to match our beliefs. Look back in your own life and notice how often you have gone through the same experiences. Well, I believe you created those experiences over and over because they mirrored something you believed about yourself. It doesn't really matter how long we have had a problem, or how big it is, or how life-threatening it is. The point of power is always in the present moment. All the events you have experienced in your lifetime up to this moment have been created by the thoughts and beliefs you have had in the past. They were created by the thoughts and words you used yesterday, last week, last month, last year, 10, 20, 30, 40, or more years ago, depending how old you are. However, that is your past. It is over and done with. What is important in this moment is what you are choosing to think and believe and say right now. For these thoughts and words will create your future. Your point of power is in the present moment and is forming the experience of tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, and so on. You might notice what thought you are thinking at this moment. Is it negative or positive? Do you want this thought to be creating your future? Just notice and be aware. The only thing we are ever dealing with is a thought, and a thought can be changed. No matter what the problem is, our experiences are just outer effects of inner thoughts. Even self-hatred is only hating a thought you have about yourself. You have a thought that says, "I'm a bad person." This thought produces a feeling, and you buy into this feeling. However, if you don't have the thought, you won't have the feeling, and thoughts can be changed. Change the thought, and the feeling must go. Some of it can be hard to listen to. As I read this in the thoughts of my mind, well, people have done some pretty bad things. Are we saying here that the thoughts and those things are not bad? Let's continue. This is only to show us where we get many of our beliefs. But let's not use this information as an excuse to stay stuck in our pain. The past has no power over us. It doesn't matter how long we have had a negative pattern. The point of power is in the present moment. What a wonderful thing to realize. We can begin to be free in this moment. Believe it or not, we do choose our thoughts. We may habitually think the same thought over and over so that it does not seem we are choosing the thought. But we did make the original choice. We can refuse to think certain thoughts Look how often you have refused to think a positive thought about yourself. Well, you can also refuse to think a negative thought about yourself. It seems to me that everyone on this planet whom I know or have worked with is suffering from self-hatred and guilt to one degree or another. The more self-hatred and guilt we have, the less our lives work. The less self-hatred and guilt we have, the better our lives work on all levels. The innermost belief for everyone I have worked with is always, I'm not good enough. We frequently add to that, and I don't do enough, or I don't deserve. Does this sound like you? Are you saying or implying or feeling that you are not good enough? But for whom? And according to whose standards? If this belief is very strong in you, then how can you possibly have created a loving, joyous, prosperous, healthy life? Somehow your main subconscious belief would always be contradicting it. Somehow you would never quite get it together, for something would always be going wrong somewhere. It's a powerful statement. Let's continue. I find that resentment, criticism, guilt, and fear cause more problems than anything else. These four things cause the major problems in our bodies and in our lives. These feelings come from blaming others and not taking responsibility for our own experiences. You see, if we are all responsible for everything in our lives, then there is no one to blame. Whatever is happening out there is only a mirror of our own inner thinking. I am not condoning other people's poor behavior, but it is our beliefs that attract people who will treat us that way. If you find yourself saying, everyone always does such and such to me, criticize me, is never there for me, uses me like a doormat, and abuses me, then this is your pattern. This is some thought in you that attracts people who exhibit this behavior. When you no longer think that way, they will go elsewhere and do that to somebody else. You will no longer attract them. Following are some results of patterns that manifest on the physical level. Resentment that is long held can eat away at the body and become this dis-ease we call cancer. Criticism as a permanent habit can often lead to arthritis in the body. Guilt always looks for punishment, and punishment creates pain. When a client comes to me with a lot of pain, I know they're holding lot of guilt. Fear and the tension it produces can create things like baldness, ulcers, and even sore feet. I have found that forgiving and releasing resentment will dissolve even cancer. While this may sound simplistic, I have seen and experienced it working. It's quite a mighty claim. I'd like to first further add that this is in no way replaces real medical treatment. But in the context of this book, this is about healing ourselves so that we may never develop such patterns in our life, whether mental or physical or emotional. Thus, we only bring our awareness to those levels and listen to its pains, that we may know its name and release ourselves from it. We can change our attitude towards the past. The past is over and done. We cannot change that now. Yet we can change our thoughts about the past. How foolish for us to punish ourselves in the moment because someone hurt us in the long ago past. Imagine that. Somebody hurts us 20 years ago, and 20 years later, we're still putting energy into that negativity. How much of that energy could have gone into something wonderful? The importance of healing sits in that scenario. That though we are hurt, it is us to release ourselves from that pain, to liberate ourselves so we may live our lives, that we may free ourselves from those shackles. Let it go. So you may be free for tomorrow and wake up anew. I often say to people who have deep resentment patterns, please begin to dissolve the resentment now. When it is relatively easy, don't wait until you're under the threat of a surgeon's knife or on your deathbed, when you may have to deal with panic too. When we are in a state of panic, it is very difficult to focus our minds on the healing work. We have to take time out to dissolve the fears first. If we choose to believe we are helpless, victims, and that it's all hopeless, then the universe will support us in that belief, and we will just go down the drain. It is vital we release these foolish, outmoded, negative ideas and beliefs that do not support us and nourish us. Even our concept of God needs to be one that is for us, not against us. To release the past, we must be willing to forgive. I'm going to say that one again. To release the past, we must be willing to forgive. need to choose to release the past and forgive everyone, ourselves included. We may not know how to forgive, and we may not want to forgive. But the very fact that we say we are willing to forgive begins the healing process. It is important, it is imperative for our own healing that we release the past and forgive everyone. I forgive you for not being the way I wanted you to be. I forgive you. I set you free. This affirmation sets us free. All dis-ease comes from a state of unforgiveness. Whenever we are ill, we need to search our hearts. To see who it is we need to forgive. The Course in Miracles says that all dis-ease comes from a state of unforgiveness, and that whenever we are ill, we need to look around to see who it is that we need to forgive. I would add to the concept that the very person you find it hardest to forgive is the one you need to let go of the most. Forgiveness means nothing, means giving up, letting go. Let me read that again. Forgiveness means giving up, letting go. It has nothing to do with condoning behavior. It's just letting the whole thing go. We do not have to know how to forgive. All we need to do is be willing to forgive. The universe will take care of the hows. We understand our own pain so well. How hard it is for most of us to understand that they, whoever they are, we need most to forgive, were also in pain. We need to understand that they were doing the best they could with the understanding, awareness, and knowledge they had at the time. When people come to me with a problem, I don't care what it is: poor health, lack of money, unfulfilling relationship, or stifled creativity. There is only one thing I have ever worked on. And that is loving the self. I find that when I really love and accept and approve of ourselves exactly as we are, then everything in life works. It's as if little miracles are everywhere. Our health improves, we attract more money, our relationships become more and more fulfilling, and we begin to express ourselves in creatively fulfilling ways. All this seems to happen without our even trying. Loving and approving of yourself, creating a space of safety, trusting and deserving and accepting, will create organization in your mind. Create more loving relationships in your life. Attract a new job, a new and better place to live, and even enable your body weight to normalize. People who love themselves and their bodies neither abuse themselves nor others. Self-approval and self-acceptance in the now are the main key positive changes in every area of our life. Loving the self to me begins with the never-ending criticizing ourselves for anything. Criticism locks us into the very pattern we are trying to change. Understanding and being gentle with ourselves helps us to move out of it. Remember, you have been criticizing yourself for years. It hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens. In the infinity of life, where I am, all is perfect, whole, and complete. I believe in a power far greater than I. I am that flows through me every moment of every day. I open myself to the wisdom within, knowing that there is only one intelligence in this universe. Out of this one intelligence comes all the answers, all of the solutions, all of the healings, all the new creations. I trust this power and intelligence, knowing that whatever I need to know is revealed to me, and whatever I need comes to me in the right time, space, and sequence. All is well in my world. So many things and questions that I can see saying, well, have you looked at the world and the state that it's in? The state that in which people have been in, and what is being revealed? I assure you, on one level, it seems difficult. Another level, it seems quite clear. And there are layers and levels beyond that. Switching back and forth between seeing how, in separation, how can this be? But I have found, personally, that the more our thoughts are founded from a place of unity, in a place that we share with one another, this is all very true. That's how we know there's still a lesson to be learned. That negativity in our minds is really there to teach us a lesson. And when that lesson is really learned, that negativity will leave. It will dissolve. It won't be there anymore. Thank you for joining me today. We have completed all of Chapter 1. Next time we'll go into Chapter 2.